Welcome, dear listeners, to another riveting episode of our scientific podcast. I'm your host, and today we're about to embark on an extraordinary journey that traverses the realms of history, archaeology, and the captivating world of giants. In this episode, we're going to delve into intriguing legends, archaeological discoveries, and real-life stories that challenge our understanding of human height. We'll explore the mysteries of the ancient race of giants in Nevada, the enigmatic red-haired Seeteca tribe, and the tallest people in recorded history. We'll traverse the landscapes of time and space, from the rugged terrains of Nevada to the mythical palace of Odysseus, and even into the lives of the tallest living man and woman. Our journey will not just be about the extraordinary, but also about the human spirit that navigates through the extraordinary. We'll learn about the resilience and strength of individuals who live in a world that's not designed for their height. We'll discover how they've turned their unique stature into platforms for promoting understanding and acceptance. So, prepare yourself for an adventure that's larger than life. Get ready to question what you know, to explore the boundaries of possibility, and to immerse yourself in the fascinating world of giants. This is not just a podcast episode, it's a journey into the extraordinary. So, sit back, relax, and let's begin this incredible exploration together. Welcome to our podcast. Now, let's turn the pages of time and journey back to a period steeped in mystery and legend. Picture this, the vast, rugged landscapes of Nevada, where the echoes of an ancient race still resonate. Yes, we're talking about the legendary giants of Nevada, a tale that has intrigued historians and archaeologists alike. This isn't just any legend. This is a story that challenges our understanding of human history, a narrative that has been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires under the starlit Nevada sky. These were not just giants in the metaphorical sense, but beings of enormous stature, towering over the average human, their presence dominating the landscapes they inhabited. The heart of this legend lies in the Lovelock Cave, a place that has become a symbol of these ancient giants. This cave, nestled by the Humboldt Sink in western Nevada, is more than just a geological formation. It's a silent witness to a time long past, a time when these giants, known as the Seeteca tribe, are said to have walked the earth. The legend tells us that these red-haired giants were so colossal that they had to be buried within the cave itself. Imagine that for a moment. Picture the enormity of these beings, their towering figures casting long shadows over the Nevada landscape. The very thought sends shivers down the spine, doesn't it? The Seeteca tribe, a name that resonates with intrigue and mystery, forms a crucial part of the legend of Nevada's giants. This tribe, according to the lore, were not ordinary humans, but red-haired giants who once inhabited the Lovelock Cave. The Seeteca, whose existence is etched in the annals of folklore, were said to be so colossal that the cave itself became their final resting place. The sheer size of these beings is hard to comprehend. Imagine being so towering that they had to be interred within the vast expanse of a cave. It's a thought that challenges our understanding of human dimensions. But the Seeteca were not just known for their size. They were also distinguished by their red hair, a characteristic that set them apart. This detail, while seemingly minor, adds a layer of depth to the legend. It paints a vivid picture of these giants, their fiery red hair a striking contrast against the backdrop of the Nevada landscape. The discovery of the Lovelock Cave, the alleged home of the Seeteca tribe, is a tale that intertwines history, archaeology, and a dash of serendipity. The cave, located by the Humboldt Sink in western Nevada, was once part of an enormous lake. As the lake dried up, it left behind a number of smaller ones, including the Humboldt Sink, and the cave that would soon become a focal point of historical interest. The story of the cave's discovery begins with a mining engineer named John T. Reed. In 1886, Reed found himself engaged in conversation with the locals, who shared tales of a cave that held secrets of an ancient race of giants. Intrigued by these stories, Reed decided to investigate. Upon seeing the cave, he knew he had stumbled upon something significant. However, the cave soon attracted attention for a different reason. Deposits of a valuable fertilizer known as guano were discovered within its depths. This led to a mining company beginning excavation in 1911, extracting more than 250 tons of the resource. Unfortunately, This process led to the neglect and loss of some of the human remains and artifacts within the cave. The loss triggered an official excavation in 1912 and again in 1924. As the top layer of guano was mined, strange objects began to surface. These artifacts, along with the human remains, provided the earliest evidence of human habitation in the area dating back about 4,000 years. It serves as a silent testament to the Lovelock culture that lasted for some 3,000 years, leaving behind over 10,000 stunning artifacts. The discovery of the cave has opened a window into the past, offering us a glimpse into the lives of those who might have once walked among giants. The excavation of the Lovelock Cave began in earnest in 1912, following the mining operations that had inadvertently unearthed intriguing artifacts and human remains. The cave, once a source of valuable guano, was now recognized for its historical significance, prompting a more careful exploration of its depths. The excavation process was akin to peeling back the layers of time. As the top layer of guano was removed, a treasure trove of artifacts began to surface. Each object, each remnant, was a piece of a historical puzzle, offering insights into the lives of the cave's ancient inhabitants. The cave was like a series of time capsules, with each pit representing a different period in history. The age of each pit was determined by its depth, revealing that the cave had been used for storage by many different groups over a long period. The items they left behind offer a fascinating glimpse into their cultures, like a giant ancient storage unit full of hidden treasures. Among the discoveries were bones much larger than those of an average human, lending credence to the legends of the Setica tribe. But the cave held more than just skeletal remains. Mummified bodies were found, preserved using methods similar to those employed by the ancient Egyptians. These bodies, some with traces of red hair, added another layer of mystery to the cave's already rich history. Now let's talk more about a very interesting find: mummified bodies. We found them in the depths of the Lovelock Cave, add a captivating chapter to the story of the Setica tribe. These remains, preserved through time, offer a tangible link to the past, providing us with clues about the people who once inhabited the cave. The mummification process used on these bodies bears a striking resemblance to the methods employed by the ancient Egyptians. This connection, spanning continents and cultures, is a testament to the shared human experiences and knowledge that transcend geographical boundaries. But what sets these mummified bodies apart is a peculiar characteristic: traces of red hair. This detail aligns with the legend of the Setica tribe, the red-haired giants of Nevada. However, the presence of red hair has sparked debate among scientists. Some believe that the reddish hue is a result of the interaction with the environment in which the bodies were preserved. In addition to the mummified bodies, the cave also yielded bodies that shared similarities with remains discovered as far south as Lake Titicaca. This connection, spanning thousands of miles, adds another layer of intrigue to the story. However, not everyone is convinced by the legend of the red-haired giants. Some experts argue that the bones found in the Lovelock Cave are simply the remains of prehistoric animals, like mammoths or sloths. But others insist that there's something more to the story. The discoveries within the Lovelock Cave have sparked a fascinating debate that continues to engage historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts alike. At the heart of this debate is a question that challenges our understanding of human history. Were the bones found in the cave the remains of an ancient race of giants, or are they simply the remnants of prehistoric animals? On one side of the debate are those who believe in the legend of the Setica tribe, the red-haired giants of Nevada. They point to the size of the bones, the mummified bodies, and the artifacts as evidence of the existence of these giants. The presence of red hair on some of the mummified bodies, they argue, aligns with the descriptions of the Setica tribe in the legends. On the other side are the skeptics, who argue that the bones could belong to prehistoric animals, such as mammoths or sloths. They suggest that the size of the bones and the presence of red hair could be explained by environmental factors or the process of fossilization. The debate is further fueled by the discovery of other relics in the cave, such as finely crafted baskets and exquisite duck decoys made from tule fibers. These artifacts, while not directly related to the giants, add to the rich tapestry of human history associated with the cave. Also, the Lovelock Cave, Beyond its association with the legend of the Teka tribe is a treasure trove of relics that offer a fascinating glimpse into the past. These artifacts, each with its own story to tell, provide insights into the lives of the people who once inhabited the cave. Among the relics discovered in the cave are finely crafted baskets. These baskets, woven with skill and precision, are a testament to the craftsmanship of the cave's ancient inhabitants. They offer clues about the daily lives of these people, their skills, and their culture. In addition to the baskets, exquisite duck decoys made from tule fibers were also found in the cave. These decoys, crafted with an eye for detail, suggest that the inhabitants of the cave may have engaged in hunting or bird catching. They also highlight the artistic abilities of these people, their understanding of the natural world, and their ability to replicate it. Each relic, from the simplest basket to the most intricate decoy, is a piece of a historical puzzle. They provide us with tangible links to the past, allowing us to piece together the story of the cave's ancient inhabitants. These artifacts, along with the bones and mummified bodies, paint a vivid picture of a time long past. Now, let's move on to another place. We move to the Palace of Odysseus, a name that evokes images of ancient Greek mythology and epic adventures, forms an intriguing part of our journey into the world of giants. While seemingly unrelated to the legend of the Teka tribe, this discovery offers another perspective on the concept of giants, this time through the lens of mythology and archaeology. Odysseus, the legendary Greek king of Ithaca, is a central figure in Homer's epic, the Odyssey. Known for his cunning and resourcefulness, Odysseus is often depicted as a larger-than-life figure, a giant in his own right. His palace, therefore, is a symbol of his grandeur and stature. The discovery of what is believed to be the Palace of Odysseus on the island of Ithaca is a significant archaeological find. This site, with its ancient ruins and artifacts, provides a tangible link to the world of Greek mythology. It offers a glimpse into the life of Odysseus, the legendary hero, adding a layer of reality to the myth. While the Palace of Odysseus may not house the remains of actual giants, it serves as a reminder of the giants of mythology, the heroes and gods who loomed large in the tales of ancient Greece. It invites us to explore the concept of giants from a different perspective, one that is rooted in myth and legend. Let's make a small digression. The world of giants is a realm that transcends time and geography, a concept that has fascinated humanity across cultures and epochs. From the red-haired giants of the Teka tribe to the larger-than-life figures of Greek mythology, giants have always held a special place in our collective consciousness. But the world of giants is not confined to legends and myths. It extends into the realm of reality, where extraordinary individuals challenge our understanding of human height. These real-life giants, with their towering stature, offer a fascinating glimpse into the extremes of human growth. One such individual is Robert Pershing Wadlow, the tallest person in recorded history. Standing at a staggering height of 8 feet 11 inches, Wadlow was a giant in the truest sense. His extraordinary height was the result of a condition known as hyperplasia of his pituitary gland, which resulted in an abnormally high level of human growth hormone. But the world of giants is not just about height. It's about the challenges, the triumphs, and the human experiences that come with living in a world that's not designed for people of such stature. It's about the resilience and strength of these individuals, their ability to navigate a world that often views them with awe and curiosity. Let's talk about specific people and their stories. Robert Pershing Wadlow, also known as the Alton Giant, was a figure who truly lived up to the title of a giant. Born in Alton, Illinois in 1918, Wadlow's extraordinary height was evident from an early age. By the time he was 8 years old, he was already taller than his father. Wadlow's growth was due to a condition known as hyperplasia of his pituitary gland, which resulted in an abnormally high level of human growth hormone. Despite his towering stature, Wadlow was known for his gentle demeanor and humility. He was a beloved figure in his hometown of Alton, where he was known for his kindness and his willingness to participate in community events. Wadlow's life was not without challenges. His extraordinary height brought with it a host of health issues, including a lack of sensation in his feet and difficulty with mobility. Despite these challenges, Wadlow lived his life with grace and dignity, refusing to let his height define him. In addition to his life in Alton, Wadlow also toured with the Ringling Brothers Circus, where he was billed as the tallest man in the world. Despite the spectacle of the circus, Wadlow was always keen to emphasize his normality, often stating, "I'm just like everyone else, only taller." Wadlow's life, though cut short at the age of 22, left a lasting impact. The Alton giant, with his gentle nature and towering stature, continues to be a source of fascination and inspiration, a true giant in every sense of the word. But let us tell you about the tallest man history has known. The title of the tallest living man currently belongs to Sultan Kösen from Turkey. Born in 1982, Kösen stands at an incredible height of 8 feet 2.8 inches. His extraordinary growth, like Wadlow's, is due to a condition known as pituitary gigantism, which results in an overproduction of growth hormone. Kösen's height has brought with it a unique set of challenges and opportunities. Everyday tasks, such as getting into a car or walking through a door, can be difficult. However, his height has also opened doors to unique experiences. In 2009, his life changed when he was declared the tallest living man by the Guinness World Records. This recognition brought him global attention and made him a cultural ambassador of sorts. Despite the challenges that come with his height, Kösen maintains a positive outlook on life. He has used his stature to spread a message of acceptance and understanding, reminding us that it's our differences that make us unique. But both of the past two were men. What about the tallest woman? The title of the tallest living woman is held by Rümeysa Gelgi from Turkey. Born in 1997, Gelgi stands at an impressive height of 7 feet 0.7 inches. Her extraordinary height is due to a condition known as Weaver syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that results in rapid growth. Despite the challenges that come with her height, Gelgi has embraced her stature with grace and resilience. She has used her unique perspective to advocate for acceptance and understanding, reminding us that our differences are what make us unique. In addition to her advocacy work, Gelgi has also pursued a career in technology. She works as a front-end developer, a role that allows her to combine her analytical skills with her creative talents. Her work in this field is a testament to her determination and resilience, proving that height is no barrier to achieving one's goals. As we draw this journey to a close, we reflect on the fascinating world of giants we've explored. From the legends of the Teka tribe and the archaeological wonders of the Lovelock Cave, to the real-life giants like Robert Wadlow, Sultan Kösen, and Rümeysa Gelgi, we've delved into a realm that challenges our understanding of human height. Each story, each discovery, has offered a unique perspective on the human experience. They've invited us to question, to explore, and to keep an open mind as we seek to understand our past and our present. They've reminded us of the diversity of human experiences and the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. Whether they are the giants of legend or the giants of reality, these towering figures continue to captivate our imagination. They invite us to explore the boundaries of possibility and to celebrate the diversity of human experiences. As we look forward to our next episode, we carry with us the stories and the lessons we've learned from the world of giants. We look forward to continuing this journey of discovery, exploring new realms, and uncovering more fascinating aspects of our world. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep an open mind.
In the UK, there are around 115,000 mailboxes, with some of them placed in questionable locations. Look here, we're on a deserted stretch of Caithness Moorhead, and here, just smack dab in the middle of nowhere, between the quarry and some moorland, stands a solitary mailbox. It was local teacher Chris Aitken who stumbled upon this oddity near Worth Hill, close to John O'Groats. Now, John O'Groats is a tiny village 2.5 miles northeast of Canisbay, in the historic county of Caithness, Scotland. The village itself is popular with tourists, but only houses around 300 people on a regular basis, and they have their own mailboxes there. So why would someone need one on a random hill? When Chris shared a photo online, someone chimed in with a theory. A while back, an entrepreneur was selling tiny parcels of land near Campster, claiming buyers became lairds with their little plots. Could this mailbox be related to that? Now, the box, proudly labeled Laird of John O'Groats, features the name Thorsten Sommer and an address in Germany. There's a PIN number on the front, but when Chris opened it, all he found was a website link. The site has pics of Sommer waving a Scottish flag and talking about his love for Scotland, even calling himself the Old Scotsman. Chris tried reaching out through the website for more info, but hasn't heard back. It might be linked to Sommer's reported purchase of a tiny patch of land, but buying Scottish laird titles is often seen as a fraud, giving no real title at all. The area around Worth Hill has had some recent police action too, after a body was found nearby. Ooh, could that somehow be connected to this mysterious mailbox too? Well, enough of the detective stories. Let's dive into some high-end fashion, shall we? So, you might have come across that funky image popping up all over the internet, claiming there's a pop-up Prada store in the Texas desert. Well, it's kind of true and kind of not. Yes, there's a shop, sort of. It showcased a whole range of Prada gear worth around $80,000. And guess what? Miuccia Prada herself handpicked the items. But still, you couldn't buy a single thing there. No cashiers, no shop assistants. It was like the place was permanently closed. The twist? It's actually an art installation. Made entirely of biodegradable materials, it was designed to gradually blend back into nature, taking a fun jab at our current consumer culture. But why display goods you can't actually buy? Well, it's a metaphor for the elusive charm of luxury. While it was meant to decay in peace, the hype surrounding it led to a surprising amount of foot traffic and even some chaos. After trying to fend off a few would-be thieves, the artist had to admit defeat. Now it's a hotspot for photos, drawing everyone from tourists to celebrities. Right, you can find a brand purse in the desert, but can you, let's say, find a car somewhere in Welsh caves? Well, the answer is yes, and let me tell you, it's not just one car, but many of them. The Cavern of Lost Souls is a well-known abandoned car cave tucked away in Wales. Once upon a time, it was a slate mine in Ceredigion, where workers pulled out tons of slate and transported it using narrow-gauge horse-drawn tramways. But as the mining industry faded away decades ago, the mine fell into a hush. If you dare go inside, which I personally do not recommend, you'll find two large chambers, but one is particularly noteworthy. The main chamber plunges around 65 feet deep and is mostly underwater, with just a small opening above. Since the mine shut down, locals and the council have taken advantage of that opening, tossing in all sorts of unwanted stuff. You'll find everything from fridges and TVs to even whole cars piled up in one corner. What makes the Cavern of Lost Souls special is the single beam of light that breaks through, casting its glow on the twisted heap of wrecked cars and metal. The water, when hit by that light, glows a stunning turquoise green, creating beautiful reflections of the cars and cavern walls on the still surface. Every now and then, a fragment of slate falls, shattering the quiet and sending ripples across the water. There was yet another weird find in Wales. A shiny 10-foot silver monolith recently popped up on Hay Bluff in Powys, Wales, and it's sparking a ton of curiosity. A local builder, Craig Muir, discovered it during his hike, and he described it as looking like it just dropped down from space. It's made of surgical steel, has no markings, and is super well crafted without visible welds. Muir's find is reminiscent of those mysterious monoliths that popped up worldwide in 2020, creating quite a buzz online. Local Richard Haynes suggested it could be some kind of scientific installation, but with national park rules against unauthorized structures, it might not be there for long. With no visible tracks around it, Muir speculated it could have been brought in by a group or even dropped from a helicopter. Now, this isn't the first strange monolith sighting. Similar ones have been spotted in Utah, the Isle of Wight, and even Glastonbury Tor, where one was humorously marked, "Not Banksy." However, it could be easily him. The UK is the leading country in terms of the number of Banksy's pieces of art. As of 2023, there were 70 of them. No wonder, as he is reportedly British and was born in Bristol. The Atacama Desert in northern Chile, the driest non-polar desert on Earth, features a bizarre sight at kilometer mark 1309 on the Pan American Highway, a giant cement hand that towers 36 feet above the sand. Looks creepy, right? Well, worry not. It's not some creepy monster trying to grip you and take you to the netherworld. It's not an ancient relic from a lost civilization either. A professional sculptor created this quirky landmark back in 1992. Despite its remoteness, the hand is frequently targeted by graffiti, so local volunteers must clean it up twice a year. And by the way, it's not the only landmark of this kind. The very same sculptor also created a similar hand in Punta del Este, Uruguay, called Man Emerging to Life, and it represents the idea that a giant might be holding South America in a stone grip. Hey, works for me. Now check out this giant stone sphere hidden in the forest of Bosnia's Visoko Valley. What do you think? Is it an ancient relic or a modern art installation? Share your thoughts in the comments. But to be completely frank with you, which I always am, nobody really knows for sure. Experts think this sphere, which measures around 10 feet across, is just a naturally occurring rock formation called a concretion. These iron-rich balls get their reddish color from the high iron content and form when mineral particles stick together over time. While concretions can take on some pretty wild shapes, the exact process of how they form is still a bit of a mystery. Then there's this archaeologist, often called the Bosnian Indiana Jones, who claims it's actually a man-made artifact from over 1,000 years ago. Spherical concretions aren't unique to Bosnia, though. You can find them all over the world, like these boulders in New Zealand, massive round stones that are over 60 million years old. There are also cannonball concretions in North Dakota. And let's not forget about the man-made stone spheres crafted by the Diquis people in Costa Rica, which are perfectly shaped and arranged, definitely a testament to human creativity. So while the Bosnian sphere is super intriguing, it's probably just an ancient concretion and not a remnant of a lost civilization. Bummer. Finally, some things are so well hidden that you have to go deep down into the seafloor to get a glimpse of them. Once a hedonistic hotspot for the Roman elite, Baia was like the Las Vegas of its time, but now its ruins are submerged underwater. This resort city thrived on volcanic hot springs and attracted the likes of Nero and Caesar, who even built vacation villas there. However, in the 8th century, Baia lost a battle and was abandoned by 1500. As the water levels rose, much of the city was lost beneath the bay. Today, you can explore Baia's ancient ruins in one of the few underwater archaeological parks in the world. Hold your breath. Now, we wouldn't call this island mystical unless there were tales of giants living here. The island of Gozo in Malta is the backdrop of an ancient legend. Malta is an island country located in the Mediterranean Sea, just south of Europe. It's a very strategically located archipelago. Throughout history, it was ruled by many different societies, such as the Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, and Carthaginians. One cold night, thousands of years ago, a farmer noticed the sky turn orange, then red, when he heard a loud thump. Although the ground seemed to be moving, this wasn't an earthquake. When he looked toward the woods, he saw a giant silhouette, taller than the trees. As he fearfully approached, he realized it was a woman. A giant woman. She introduced herself as Sansuna. Unlike the terrible giants of many tales, Sansuna didn't want to exterminate the human race. She was loving and caring. She told the farmer that she and her people could help protect their land from invaders. The locals were pretty interested in this offer. Since Malta is located in an important commercial route, it was constantly being invaded. The story says that Sansuna settled in Malta, and sooner rather than later, she was moving things around. And when I say things, I mean monoliths. Sansuna carried huge stones on her shoulder to build a magnificent temple called Gigantia, which means place of giants. She even did this while holding her half-giant, half-human kid on the other shoulder. Some say Sansuna lived exclusively on beans and honey, although others replaced honey with water. The funniest bit here is that Malta is the 10th smallest country in the world, but it somehow managed to host giants. Hey, go figure. The temple looked like a giant game of Tetris, with some stones weighing as much as 20 elephants. Some of these monolithic rocks are so heavy, scholars guess it would take 50 men working together to lift just one stone. Now, as much as this is entertaining, humans never proved giants were real, So this story couldn't be true. There's a brief mention of a species of giants called the Nephilim in some ancient texts. The Nephilims would have been terrible giants that wreaked havoc on the earth and only survived until the Great Flood. But nobody ever found real proof of this species really existing on Earth, until this came along. The world of Maltese archaeology unearthed quite a few shocking things in the past years. One of them are known as the hypogeum skulls. Hypogeum is the Greek word for underground, and this incredible site was discovered in the first decade of the 20th century. Back then, Malta's National Museum director received an important phone call. Someone had accidentally dug some impressive bones and asked him to come check it out. The hypogeum looked like an underground city, filled with mazes and rooms that stretched along multiple floors. They were all made with similar limestones as the Maltese temples above ground. The hypogeum was filled with important relics and artifacts. Scientists quickly understood that the hypogeum was built as a type of final resting place for locals. So, along with skulls, they found a lot of bones and skeletons. One of these artifacts were skulls, but these weren't regular human skulls. Rather, they were of the elongated type. To make matters worse, these skulls were hidden from the public for years. People started to talk and created a bunch of theories behind it. The truth is that this discovery was a turning point for Maltese archaeology, although scientists didn't know what to do with it. Some wondered if these skulls were natural or manipulated, since they knew some cultures in the world used head binds to alter their skulls. Other scientists threw in the hypothesis of little gray people or even the legendary giants. Some say that the elongated skulls could have been sculptures that worshipped otherworldly deities. There was no way to confirm any of these theories. So the question remained: who were the builders of Malta's megalithic temples? Now let's take a look at what scientists know. The Maltese megalithic temples have been standing strong since 3500 BCE, which is even older than the pyramids of Egypt. The main dilemma here is that these temples were built even before we invented writing, yet they required advanced technological skills to exist. The Gigantea Temple seems too absurd to have been built by humans. The South Temple has a corridor with 4 oval rooms on the sides, looking like a big shamrock leaf. In one of these rooms, scientists found altars decorated with spiral patterns. It looked like an altar of some sort, indicating early Maltese people used them for ritualistic purposes. The North Temple is similar but smaller, with a very low entrance that makes people crouch down to get inside. You get it? You need to bow down to their deities in order to get into this sacred place. I mean, one can't help but wonder about the secret reasons these ancient builders had to build such a huge temple. I'm thinking they probably cast one of Daenerys' dragons to move the monoliths around. Yeah, I'm joking here. But hey, remember the entrance to King's Landing? Yup, the series used the Medina Gates in Malta as the exterior of King's Landing during Episode 3 of Season 1. Anyways, back to the giants. The ritualistic theory of the whole thing won a few points when archaeologists uncovered these mysterious figures. They're popularly known as fat ladies. These tiny statues have round bodies and faces that show how much they enjoyed life. They kinda look like a miniature Sunsana, the giantess we talked about. Scientists believe these were statues that celebrated well-being and prosperity. It does prove that the people of the time had advanced craftsmanship skills, and they were pretty intentional with their constructions and art manifestations. One of these statues is known as the Sleeping Lady. This Neolithic piece of art depicts the figure of a large woman lying on her side sleeping. After studying it deeper, scientists guessed this statue was meant to represent the Great Reaper. It was found in the hypogeum, which we now know was a huge resting place. This specific statue is different from all the other fat ladies, starting with the hair and the embroidered skirt. Then there's this statue. This is supposed to represent an 8-foot-tall woman and the rim of her skirt. She was discovered in the most unusual of ways. A farmer was trying to plow his field, but he kept hitting large blocks of stone. All the way back in 1915, the farmer called Malta's National Museum director and asked him to come check it out. Some think this is all the proof you need to confirm that Sunsana was real. Others aren't all that sure. But that's not all. The place where this giant statue was buried revealed one of Malta's most impressive archaeological sites, the Tarsian temples. The temples were made from limestone blocks. Some are 20 feet tall and weigh around 20 tons. Zamet, the museum director, kept digging and discovered multiple sites made of megalithic stones. All of them supposedly built by Stone Age farmers, all stranded on a remote island in the Mediterranean Sea thousands of years ago. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, look at these temples in Manidra. This is probably the world's earliest calendar. On the equinoxes, the sun passes directly through the main doorway, straight down the central axis. On the solstices, there are two superb variations. During the summer solstice, the rays fall on the edge of the megalith to the left of the doorway, and during the winter, the rays fall to the right side of the doorway. It's astronomical precision at its finest. And what about the structures in the Hall Tarsian that we've already talked about? This complex is the oldest one in all of Malta. It was built with the purpose of doing animal offerings to deities. Scientists confirmed this by unearthing numerous animal bones buried in the soil. They also found a great collection of spirals, indicating that the locals also used this temple for ritualistic purposes. Overall, there are 7 megalithic temples in Malta, each more impressive than the other. Scholars keep on digging to see if they can uncover the truth, much like researchers do with the pyramids of Egypt, the lost Mayan cities in the Americas, and other sites.
Hey there, curious history buffs! Have you heard the legend of the ancient race of giants of Nevada? Yes, I'm talking about actual giants that allegedly lived thousands of years ago. Now I know what you're thinking. Giants, really? Well, archaeological finds add fuel to this debate too. And here's where it gets interesting. Lovelock Cave was indeed used as a burial site, and some of the remains found there are much larger than average human bones. The cave is by the Humboldt Sink in western Nevada. It was once part of an enormous lake, which eventually dried up, leaving a number of smaller ones, including the Humboldt Sink. The cave became the home of the Site-Ka tribe. According to the legend, these red-haired giants were so big that they had to be buried in the cave itself. Indeed, later on, archaeologists discovered 8 to 10 foot tall skeletons. This legend started to unfold when a mining engineer named John T. Reed talked to the locals in 1886. Once Reed saw the cave, he knew he was onto something. The news spread soon, but the cave was attracting another type of attention too. The deposits of a fertilizer known as guano were discovered inside the cave. So a mining company began excavating the precious resource in 1911 and soon shipped more than 250 tons of the fertilizer to San Francisco. Unfortunately, some of the human remains and artifacts were neglected and lost in the mining process. This led to an official excavation in 1912 and 1924. After the top layer of guano had been mined, strange objects started to surface. Around the area, the earliest evidence of human habitation dates back about 4,000 years. The Lovelock culture lasted for some 3,000 years, and they left us with 10,000 stunning artifacts. The pits in the cave were like a series of time capsules hidden at different depths. Archaeologists determined the age of each pit by its depth. It turns out that many different groups used the cave for storage over a really long time, and the things they stored there give us a really cool glimpse into their cultures. It's like a giant ancient storage unit full of hidden treasures. What have the researchers found besides the giant bones, you might ask? Some other bodies were mummified using a method similar to the one applied by ancient Egyptians. These remains also had something in common with the bodies discovered as far south as Lake Titicaca. Both mummies had some red hair. Yet, there are scientists who believe this reddish hue is the result of the interaction with the environment in which the bodies stayed. So, while the story of the red-haired giants may be a wild and intriguing tale, not everyone is convinced. Some experts believe that the bones found in Lovelock Cave are simply the remains of prehistoric animals, like mammoths or sloths. But others insist that there's something more to the story. Other relics, such as finely crafted baskets and exquisite duck decoys made from tule fibers, were also found there. In any case, this cave is worth the attention it gets. By the way, you can still visit this cave today and see the pits of different depths with your own eyes. But let me tell you one thing, it's in a hot, dry, and isolated place. Archaeologists have made another discovery that seems to be straight out of a legend. They think they found the palace of the one and only Odysseus, who was the legendary Greek king of Ithaca and the hero of Homer's epic poem. Move over, Indiana Jones. We've got some real-life adventure happening here from around 1300 BCE. Apparently, this is the only palace mentioned in Homer's epic poems that hasn't been found. The excavations have been made on the Ionian Islands, and the view from the ruins found on the island of Ithaca are exactly as described in the Odyssey, says the professor who led the excavation team. Known to the ancient Romans as Ulysses, the Greek hero took 10 years to return home to Ithaca after the fall of Troy. For many years, Homer's other epic, called the Iliad, which tells the story of the protracted siege of Troy by the Greeks, was regarded as a myth too. But then, in the 1870s, Troy was rediscovered in modern-day Turkey's Çanakkale city. So, if they found Troy, who's to say they couldn't find Odysseus's home? The researchers were following Homer's words as a roadmap. The excavation site has a building complex with 2 levels. It has important finds such as storerooms and workshops, a complicated drainage system, and fragments of pottery. It also has a well from the 8th century BCE, which is around the time when Odysseus is believed to have been the king. Yet, not everyone is convinced that the team has actually discovered the home of Odysseus. A British researcher named Robert Biddlestone insists that Homer's description of ancient Ithaca isn't very similar to the island that now has its name, and that Odysseus's kingdom was actually on the Isle of Cephalonia. However, Italian archaeologist Adriano La Regina might have a more realistic approach to this debate. He says that whether this find has a connection to Ulysses or not, what's more important is the discovery of this royal palace. Once upon a time, in a land far away, the Klamath Indians spread a legend about the creation of Crater Lake. Okay, maybe this land is not that far away, and it still exists. You can find it in south-central Oregon, in the western United States. Anyway, the legend has it that this lake was formed in a vicious battle between 2 volcanoes, Mount Mazama and Mount Shasta. Then the spirits of Earth and the Sky, which are Lao, who ruled the below world, and Skell, the chief of the above world, joined the fight. It turned into a geological drama. During the battle, darkness veiled the land. The fight was over when Mount Mazama collapsed and sent Lao back into the underworld. Then the rain filled the pit and created a lake in the place where the mountain had once stood. Flash forward to our time. Scientists have discovered that Mount Mazama did erupt 7,700 years ago. Artifacts found in the area prove that the legend indeed contains some details about the explosion. The tale says that red-hot rocks were flying through the sky. This happened during the volcanic eruption that caused the mountain to collapse. This created the volcanic caldera, which later on got filled with water. What makes this legend came true story unusual is how long it has existed. According to researchers, these types of verbal stories lose their credibility within 600 to 700 years. That's why the legend about the creation of Crater Lake is so unique. So many generations, for hundreds of years, have been accurately passing down the information. This volcanic crater lake is now in a national park. It's famous for its deep blue color. The water in it is extremely clear. If you visit it today, the water you'll see won't be the same as for someone who will visit the place 250 years later. Because there are no rivers flowing into or out of the lake, the existing water evaporates and the lake gets filled again by rain and snowfall. Basically, every 250 years, the water is replaced. Plus, This lake is almost 2,000 feet deep, which makes it the deepest lake in the United States. Swimming is okay in the lake, but there's only one legal and safe trail to get to the shore. There are other activities, such as fishing and boat tours. Shared human experiences, such as birth, marriage, and aging, may explain why certain tales are shared globally. Similar struggles and obstacles faced by humans around the world generate similar themes in traditional stories about love, parenting, and mortality. So, do you have legends or tales you've heard of from your grandparents? Who knows? Maybe your ancestors, too, witnessed a cool historical event.
Strange and amazing items are discovered often, but figuring out what our ancestors were up to is pretty tough. Especially when all you have are just some rusty cups and cave drawings. It's no surprise that even the experts in lab coats sometimes make mistakes. But it's not just about dusty plates and huge stones. Sometimes there's even humans with large heads. So grab your digging tools and let's travel back to ancient times to explore incredible societies that even scientists can't fully explain. Sardinia may look idyllic now, but I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't fancy visiting it 3,000 years ago. Rumor has it, terrible giants roamed around this island back then. People even talk about finding human skeletons over 13 feet tall there, although nobody's ever shown anything to prove it. But the stories will make you wonder because some weird stuff has definitely happened. In 1974, over 5,000 pieces of broken stone artifacts were found in a part of the island called Monte Prama, but instead of being displayed in a museum, they were locked up in an underground vault for about 30 years. Sounds a bit suspicious, doesn't it? When they were finally displaced in 2005, scientists put the pieces together to find statues of 38 giant men standing 8 feet tall. Not quite as tall as the legendary skeletons, but still pretty huge. It's thought these statues were made by the Nuragic people, who lived on the island a long time ago. Besides giant statues, they also built over 8,000 massive stone buildings. Perhaps Nuragic weren't giants themselves, but they definitely liked their things big. I do too. I like a big number of likes on our videos. That would be pretty great. Thank you if you liked this and subscribed. Now back to the video. You and I are pretty smart, but we might not be the smartest humans ever. Actually, we might not even be the smartest species. Since 1913, some skull fossils found in South Africa have hinted at a possibly smarter contender called Boskop man. This human-like species might have lived as recently as 10,000 years ago. Their skull suggests they had really big heads, which means their brains could have been 30% bigger than ours. Wow! Their average IQ could have been around 149, making them among the smartest 0.05% of people today. But if a Boskop brainiac was so much smarter, why are they not around and we are? Well, bigger isn't always better, you know. Our brains are a lot bigger than our ape relatives, mainly in the prefrontal cortex. This part helps with high-level tasks like making decisions, remembering things short-term, and being aware of ourselves. The parts of the brain that handle our senses and movements haven't really grown much. So, maybe the Boskops spent too much time dwelling on the past rather than doing practical things like hunting. But this is all just guessing. We really don't know what happened to these clever cousins of ours. Some people even argue that Boskops weren't any different from us, with the only evidence being parts of skulls. The jungle is huge. Did you know the Amazon rainforest is home to about 30% of all the world's plant and animal species? That's impressive. However, the history of one native species, humans, has long puzzled scientists. The mysterious Kasarabe people lived here for hundreds of years and then vanished around 1400 AD. People thought the Amazon only had a few scattered tribes, but recently we discovered big, unusual shapes in the ground called geoglyphs. These might look like simple, shallow ditches, but they're actually the remains of a vast civilization that spread over 5,000 square miles and includes about 450 markings, some as wide as 1,300 feet. That's insane! They likely contained ceremonial buildings and could have hosted up to 1 million people as recently as 550 years ago. Thanks to new technology like LiDAR, which uses a safe laser to map the forest without harming it, we can explore deeper. In 2019, some scans showed miles of raised roads and pathways and even pyramids over 70 feet tall. They found 26 separate settlements, 2 of which were at least 250 acres each. Damn, that's like 330 soccer fields. It's not certain what happened to the Kasarabe people. Maybe European conquistadors drove them out. Maybe the most baffling ancient civilization is one we've never actually found a trace of. Yep, I'm talking about Atlantis, the grand city that supposedly sank into the ocean. The first mentions of Atlantis come from the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who talked about a great city near the Strait of Gibraltar. But for ages, everyone just thought Plato made up Atlantis as a perfect version of his own Athens. So why, about 12,000 years after it supposedly vanished, do we still wonder if it might be real? Well, in the 19th century, U.S. Congressman Ignatius Donnelly wrote a book giving 13 reasons why he thought Atlantis was more than just a myth. Then, in 1965, some folks thought they actually found Atlantis when they discovered the Richat structure, a massive 25-mile-wide dome in Mauritania, Africa. It's so big that you can see the whole thing from space. 2 astronauts flying over the Sahara Desert spotted this giant eye staring back at them and thought they'd made the discovery of a lifetime. Unfortunately, there's no solid evidence linking this structure to Atlantis. It's believed to have formed from volcanic activity about 100 million years ago. But it does look suspicious, doesn't it? Still, we're no closer to knowing the truth. Imagine going back to about 3,300 BCE and finding yourself in South Asia. Welcome to the Harappan civilization. These people were way ahead of their time. They had cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, complete with baked brick houses, sophisticated drainage systems, and even public baths. This place might have had over 5 million people, making it one of the densest regions at the time. They also invented a system of standardized weights that was incredibly useful for traders. And trading they did. These people had connections stretching all the way to the Middle East, thanks to their great skills in metallurgy. They even had a form of ancient branding. The seals were used to stamp clay on trade goods. Despite being so advanced with a thriving urban life, there's a whole bunch of mystery shrouding their language and script. We've got bits and pieces of their writing, but no one's deciphered them yet, even with all the technology we have today. We also still don't know how exactly their society worked. It looks like they didn't flaunt their social status as much as other civilizations. No grand palaces or massive monuments. Instead, their largest buildings might have been granaries. They sure were practical. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Around 1800 BCE, this bustling civilization started to decline, possibly due to shifts in river patterns. As the environment changed, the Harappans packed up, moving towards more hospitable lands. Ever heard of the Minotaur? The beast with a bull's head and a man's body, hunting the bravest travelers in a massive maze. Well, this wasn't just any old tale. It was one of the most popular dramas of the ancient world. And it was inspired by this place, the island of Crete. The Minoans lived here during the Bronze Age. They had stunning palaces, amazing frescoes, and a culture so rich it still fascinates historians to this day. They built places like Knossos, which was so complex with its multi-story buildings and elaborate hallways that it might have inspired the whole labyrinth myth. Their engineering was so ahead of its time that even their drainage systems were more advanced than what many of us have today. Let me know in the comments which of these stories you find the most fascinating, and thanks for watching.
Well, this eerie Lake Huron discovery may be that it possibly contains the remnants of an entire civilization. Whoa, wait, sounds like Atlantis, right? Well, not exactly. But if there really had been an ancient underwater civilization here, it must have been a pretty advanced one. Around 10,000 years ago, two sharp glassy flakes broke off a stone tool and landed on the ground unnoticed. They stayed buried there for thousands of years, until 2013. Then scientists pulled up a small chunk of mud, about the size of a milk carton, from the bottom of Lake Huron, 100 feet underwater. Inside the mud, they found those same two flakes made of obsidian, a shiny black volcanic glass that forms when lava cools quickly. After careful testing, they realized these flakes came from Central Oregon, which is quite a distance, about 2,500 miles away. They found this prehistoric Great Lakes site on the Alpena Amberley Ridge, an underwater landform that once connected what's now Michigan and Ontario. Back then, it was dry land. Early humans used it to build traps for animals like caribou as the Ice Age faded and the Great Lakes began to form. Now, obsidian was the high-tech material of ancient times. It's super sharp and perfect for making tools. If you study the flakes carefully, it's obvious that humans made them. You can see where they struck them and the feathered edges that come from being carefully chipped. That means people were not only crafting tools here, but they also had access to obsidian that came from incredibly far away. It was likely possible through a huge trade network that spanned across the continent. For over 100 years, people have guessed that ancient societies might have existed beneath the Great Lakes, but no one had proof. That's why work on this submerged archaeological site is so important. A team of researchers has been trying to learn more about the 10,000-year-old ruins and the civilization that left them behind for over a decade now. Lake Huron's icy water acted like a time capsule that helped preserve things for thousands of years. So far, researchers have found not only unique stone tools, but also ancient trees with roots still intact and underwater peat bogs that preserved seeds and leaves. It was like an Ice Age version of Pompeii, a scene frozen in time. These discoveries are also helping scientists create new technologies and ways to do underwater archaeology. They've engaged sonars, underwater robots, and divers so far. Now, it's pretty cool that the tools they found on the Alpena Amberley Ridge were way smaller than other tools from the same era found nearby. That might mean a different group of people lived here, and they had their own unique way of life. Even the peat bogs they found, which are about 9,500 years old, hold secrets. They're full of pine needles, seeds, and leaves that could reveal what the environment was like back then. Usually stuff like this breaks down quickly on land, but the cold freshwater preserved it. The Michigan team is working with scientists in Cambridge, England, to extract DNA from the remains. If it works, it could finally confirm what animals lived there, and maybe even more. There are still years of discovery on this prehistoric Great Lakes site ahead. Another famous submerged archaeological site is the lost city of Pavlo-Petri. Archaeologists think it is the oldest sunken city in the world they've found and made official so far. Pavlo-Petri is around 5,000 years old. That means it existed even before the legendary Greek heroes in Homer's stories. Scientists first spotted it way back in 1904, and then mostly forgot about it until 1967, when Nicholas Fleming rediscovered it. He described it as a Bronze Age city now lying under about 10 to 13 feet of water. A year later, he returned with a team of scientists to study the ruins. Over 6 weeks, using just hand tapes and a basic grid, they managed to map out the city. They found that it covered almost 1,000 feet by 500 feet and had at least 15 buildings, courtyards, 5 streets, 2 tombs, and around 37 small stone graves. They also found signs that the ruins continued onto the nearby island of Pavlo-Petri itself. They dug up some amazing pottery, obsidian, and chert blades, and even a tiny bronze figurine that may date all the way back to 2800 BCE. Most of the buildings, though, came from the period between 1650 and 1180 BCE. Then scientists left the site alone again until 2009, when a super team of researchers launched a new 5-year project to really dive deep into the history of Pavlo-Petri. This time, they had digital mapping tools and better diving equipment, so they could explore and even excavate underwater. They found another 97,000 square feet of buildings, including a large hall and hidden streets. Plus, they dug up even more pottery that showed people had been living in the city from about 3000 BCE to 1100 BCE, and that the city once had a population of 500 to 2,000 people. No one knows for sure how the city ended up underwater, but many scientists think it was because of an earthquake, maybe around 1000 BCE, or even as late as 375 CE. Because it's the oldest underwater city ever found, some people even believe Pavlo Petri might have inspired the legend of Atlantis. Another contestant for the Atlantis title lies near Japan. Back in 1986, a local diver was exploring the waters near the Ryukyu Islands when he found a giant structure made of perfectly shaped steps and sharp edges. It was 82 feet underwater. Today, the Yonaguni Monument is one of the most mysterious underwater sites on the planet. The structure is nearly half a football field in size. It looks like a massive stone pyramid with layers of platforms and steps stacked one on top of another. No one really knows where it came from or who built it. Some experts think the monument might be more than 10,000 years old, which would make it older than the Egyptian pyramids. One theory is that it could be the last remains of a lost civilization called Mu, a mythical Pacific society kind of like Atlantis. Others believe an ancient culture that lived in Japan as early as 12,000 BCE might have built it. But many scientists and geologists are skeptical about this possible underwater ancient civilization, even though Yonaguni has narrow passageways, arched openings, and right angles that almost look like city blocks. They say that the site looks a lot like natural rock formations, like the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, for example. The whole monument is still connected to a bigger chunk of bedrock, which means it wasn't built piece by piece. And the way the layers of rock are stacked probably has more to do with earthquakes and tectonic movement. It's located in the very active Pacific Ring of Fire. One marine geologist kept going back down there, and every time he found something new. He says he spotted tool marks in the rock, symbols carved into stone faces, and even rock formations shaped like animals. He believes these carvings point to a culture that came from mainland Asia. He said he had identified 10 different structures off Yonaguni, including a ruined castle, a triumphal arch, 5 temples, and even a huge museum. These buildings seem to be connected by roads and channels, and some parts are surrounded by what could be giant stone walls. The explorer believes the city is at least 5,000 years old, based on stalactites found in underwater caves nearby, which would have only formed after the caves flooded. His supporters say they have never seen an earthquake create shapes like this, above or below water. But skeptics blame it all on erosion and insist that whirling underwater currents and sea creatures left holes in the rock. Now, if you want to form your own opinion about it, the spot is open for visitors, and it's definitely a super fun diving experience.